There was an embarrassingly stinky horror movie that dropped a few years ago called The Bye Bye Man. The tagline was "Don't think it, don't say it." And that's the whole concept of the movie. Don't think the Bye Bye Man, don't say the Bye Bye Man's name, otherwise you summon him and give him powers and he's a real bad guy. I unironically view modern real world pranksters in the same ways that movie viewed the Bye Bye Man. Just these evil people whom only care about people saying their name because it empowers them. Doesn't matter the context in which their name is used, it doesn't matter if people are shitting all over them, insulting them, doesn't matter. As long as their name is being uttered, they get like some kind of Kaioken times 10 boost and continue to make the worst fucking pranks of all time. And even though I know all they care about is people talking about them, I just don't have the strength to resist making fun of these clowns, these absolute losers. So I made a video a few days ago called The Worst Prankster Ever. And since then, a lot's happened. It's been going wacko mode right now with new developments in this story. But before getting into the new stuff, I'll go ahead and give you the brief previously on Dragon Ball Z recap. This is a TikTok prankster who's become known for just downright degenerate dogshit pranks, such as stealing people's pets, where one time he went to the park and walked up to a random old lady and stole her dog and ran away with it. Actual villain shit. His most famous prank is where he just barges into a random family's home while their tiny toddler children were home, probably scaring the fuck out of everyone there. And also making a big hubbub about the dad trying to get them out of the house, who was obviously very panicked. Like, actual breaking and entering pranks, like, that's something he did multiple times where he'd just go into random people's homes. Then, of course, there was the "Do you want to die" prank, where he'd just go up to random people, sometimes wearing a balaclava, and ask them if they want to die, and keep pestering them with that question, and then have one of his friends run up on them, also wearing a balaclava, which obviously startled them and made people run away, fucking soiling their britches. Punchline to that Galaxy Brain joke was, he wasn't talking about dying as in, like, slitting their throat and burying them 6 feet deep. He'd pull out, like, a thing of hair dye. So one of those awful, old-school, dog-shit YouTube pranks of "you misinterpreted what I was saying, haha." But by then, most people had already ran away and shit their pants. Absolutely soiled their trousers, obviously. Another one, by far his most hilarious banger, blatant assault, where he just assaulted Orthodox Jews, which he did get arrested for briefly, but no real repercussions. I'm pretty sure they just sat him down and said, "Hey, that's not very good. Hey, be a little nicer out there, why don't you? All right, go on now. You're good to go." So he hasn't faced any real repercussions for any of this shit, even though most of it is blatant fucking crimes. Until recently. He got arrested again a few days ago, and people were really celebrating, like, it's finally here! You know, consequences for these actions. And it turns out he was fined 350 pounds. he got a light fine, barely even a slap on the wrist. 350 pounds is probably what he made from one dog-stealing prank video. So that meant nothing to him. Now, he did get arrested again today, and we're still waiting to see what comes from that. I imagine a big fucking nothing sandwich yet again. But it's worth mentioning he has been arrested again, but no idea, as of recording this video right now, as to what's going to come from there. But I imagine it's going to be like another $100 fine and a stern talking to. Which, of course, means absolutely fucking nothing to him, just like the last time he was arrested and fined. In fact, he took a victory lap and wears it like a Boy Scout badge of honor. So he's talking about how great it was that he got arrested. He even just openly spits on the law, saying how weak the UK's laws are around his crimes. Which he's right about, I guess. They really aren't taking any of this shit seriously. And then he even gave himself his own little press tour in order to keep his name in people's mouths. So he went on Piers Morgan's show and got absolutely slapped. This is one of the most embarrassing 10 minutes of television ever broadcast. I've never watched Piers Morgan's show, but I know people make fun of him for it all the time. But this time around, the only person getting made fun of was Mizzy. Bringing Mizzy onto his show was a PR blessing. It was like the best thing he could have done for his public image. Because Mizzy was awful on here. He couldn't formulate a single real response to any of the criticism that's been tossed his way. He just started rambling about nonsense. He was like actually up there fucking fighting ghosts. It was horrible. It was so bad he himself couldn't spin it in a positive light when he was trying to brag to his audience of 4 9-year-olds that still haven't developed object permanence that for some reason cheer on his madness. He was even saying, like, guys, look, just heads up, the Piers Morgan interview didn't go how I wanted it to. He himself recognized how awful he looked here. He looked fucking pathetic. He got embarrassed in front of everyone again. Even though his videos embarrass him enough, he still went on and made an even bigger fool of himself by even doing this to begin with. And then he had the audacity to start plugging his socials on the program as if anyone watching Piers fucking Morgan is going to watch your streams or your TikTok content. Delusional. Absolutely delusional. He's been trying so hard to catapult all of this villain infamy he's gained into a career, but he just keeps getting embarrassed at every step of the way. Rightfully so.
Jumping on Jewish people.
See, I was
right, you're already
Jewish people. Hold up, wait
yeah,
a minute,
well,
wait, no, stop.
You did.
Cool, it was a Jewish person, cool. But there was a trend going around on TikTok called 300. I've done this to numerous people, black people, white people, Asian, any types of people. I don't discriminate. So don't stop saying Orthodox Jewish person like I only targeted him and it was only him that I went for.
Why are you targeting anybody in that manner?
What do you mean, why am I targeting anyone? It was a trend, it was a trend. I just done it for a trend.
This is him talking about the assault prank, and I think it's a very interesting look at the completely distorted reality Mizzy lives in, where because something was a trend, that means that it's totally justifiable that he did it. It's still assault. What happens in the video, I'm not going to show it. He jumps on the Jewish man, which pushes him into the road and obviously scares the fuck out of him. And he very realistically could have been hit by a car, like 100%. You push this guy, basically, by jumping on top of him. Anything could have happened from there. That could have been an absolute fucking disaster. It's still assault. And he seems to be hung up on the details, like, it had nothing to do with him being Jewish, you know? I've done this to a ton of people. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that he had done this so many times, so he must be notorious for fucking assault pranks, I guess. A big self-report there, if you ask me. But what I find so interesting about this is that Mizzy only focuses on the fact that he does this to more than just Jewish people. This wasn't just against Jewish people. Instead of just recognizing that assault is bad, whether or not it's a trend. Like, he doesn't have any regret for doing it. He just keeps writing it off as like, it's okay, it was a trend. But I'm tired of people thinking that I'm anti-Semitic and only targeting Jews. I assault everyone equally. That's fucking crazy. Just because it may have been a trend doesn't mean that it was a good thing to do. Yet, in Mizzy's mind, he thinks it's totally fine and people shouldn't have a problem because he was just following a trend, which is fucking weird.
Not necessarily, but you could say that this whole public outroar just makes me laugh because people are getting hurt over something that didn't happen to them. And that's how I see it as.
This is a point he's very adamant about. He thinks people don't have the right to be upset at him since they weren't direct victims of his pranks. So he lacks, like, basic empathy, I guess. People are just calling you out for being a douchebag. Your pranks suck. And they terrorize, like, actual normal people in the real world out there, just complete strangers that you're treating like props to scare for your TikTok clout because your brain's been fucking rotted and poisoned by this desperate desire for attention and validation online. Like, it has nothing to do with people feeling like they are personally a victim for having watched it. It's just the basic understanding of, man, I feel bad for all of the people in these videos that you keep tormenting with this garbage. Like, that's such an easy thing to wrap your head around for most people, I imagine, but not Mizzy. Mizzy thinks that unless you're a direct victim of it, you shouldn't be saying anything about it to begin with.
I went to go apologize off social media. I could have recorded that apology and that would have been another viral video, whether it's hate or whatever. Literally, hate brings money, hate brings likes, hate brings views. It doesn't matter. Love or hate, it still brings views.
Why do you prefer to do the hateful stuff?
It's not like I prefer to do the hateful stuff. It's just like it's easier to do the hateful stuff.
Why are you laughing? You think it's fun?
Obviously, I don't think it's fun, but you're a funny person.
You do think it's funny?
You're a funny person.
You do. I've seen the videos. You do
Obviously,
think it's just really funny.
At the time, I think it's funny. My fan base thinks it's funny, and it's we outside, innit? It's a movement.
Now, this is the last clip from the interview I want to show here. I also want to briefly go back to the dog stealing pranks. Apparently, he does give the dogs back, but it's not like that cures the trauma of the situation. I just want to make that clear. But he says something here where, like, he'll want to apologize off camera, and he could also film it if he wanted to and post those as well. But first of all, I don't believe he's ever really apologized to anyone genuinely. I think he's never shown any real remorse for any of his actions. I don't think he cares at all about other people. I think he views the world as NPCs to exploit for his own TikTok clout. So I really don't think he's ever wanted to apologize. But then he said he could film it and post it if he wanted to for more content, and then goes into talking about how the content he does make right now, the very mean-spirited content that generates like a bunch of hate online and shit, is easy for him, which is why he does it, because it's all views, it's all engagement, which is all he cares about. And that's a very honest look at a completely brain-rotted, terminally online person's perspective of what value is in life, where the only thing he cares about is that engagement that content is bringing him. That is the only purpose he has found, which I think is absolutely sad. Like, genuinely pathetic. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to give a little update to this whole situation because a lot's been going on with it. He's definitely the prankster most people are keeping their eye on because he has literally been filming crimes. He has been gathering his own evidence against himself, and yet the authorities have still done absolutely nothing to stop him from doing this shit. So, like I said, he got arrested again today, and as of recording this, don't know what's going to come from it, but anyway, that's about it. See ya.